What's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the film Godzilla Minus One. Now this is directed by Takashi Yamazaki. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is like the 37th film in the Godzilla franchise. Now this particular film, it isn't connected to like Shin Godzilla, as far as I know it wasn't. It's like another kind of like a re-emergence of Godzilla, and it's in post-war Japan, because this particular film is set in the early 40s, because it kind of runs over like I think a 3-year span, if I can remember correctly. I think it started in 45, then it goes to like 46, then it goes to 47, so it actually carries on throughout the years. But I must admit, in the end, I was surprised at how dramatic it was, because at times when you're watching it, you wouldn't even think this was like a Godzilla film, you know, because it's like so dramatic and serious, like, and the way the performances are in the film too as well, you wouldn't even think that this was a Godzilla film. It almost seems like it's like Oscar-worthy like material, like the actual like style and scope of the film itself. And I must admit, it was pretty entertaining. You know, I thought the visual effects, especially like of Godzilla himself and so on, I thought was done very well. It's like very tense too. There are like some moments I thought was like particularly scary, especially like this moment when Godzilla is like emerging like in the water, like they see him in the water. You know, they're trying to shoot like where they're dropping these mines at him. I think you can see it kind of like in the trailers and so on. It really was like a terrifying scene. I'm not gonna lie, because Godzilla's like swimming out of the boat. You know, you just see his head like, you know, up out the water, so it really did look like frightening, you know, no joke. But overall, I want to touch on like some of like the cast members in the film, because like the main character of the film is known as, I think it was Koshi. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Cause I know I'm gonna have trouble like pronouncing like their names. Cause I would like to say that the name of the actor that plays him too, but I think I even have trouble pronouncing that. Cause I think it's like Ru Nosuke or something like that. But he's like a former like I think they call it kamikaze pilot, because the film does open with him like landing like in this particular like area. Like he claims that his plane was like something was wrong with like his plane or something like that. But once he gets there with these like people, like this group of people like on this island on, I forget the name, I think it's known as Odo or Otto Island. Once he gets there, Godzilla does emerges, because at first they don't know what it is. It's just like this giant creature, and he isn't as giant as he can get at first. He just emerges, and it's a decent size like Godzilla. I think he's probably about a little larger than like a Tyrannosaurus. He shows up, you know, and they have to take, you know, and confronts the people and so on, because they're like shouting like, what is this and all that. Yeah, there's like this lead mechanic, and he's known as I think it's Tachibana, and he wants Koshu to shoot at Godzilla, and but he didn't, you know, and it just causes like everybody to get like all the people to get killed and all that, you know. I just leave it at that, because that's when the film stars, you know. But then after that happens, he goes back to Tokyo. Koshi, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He goes back to Tokyo and he works as a mine sweeper, and there he meets like this young woman known as Norikyo, and they also find like a kid too as well, because once he gets there, there was like a bombing that happened in Tokyo, you know. But once that's when he meets the woman known as a young girl known as Noriko, and there's also like a baby known as Kiko as well. Because as the film goes on, like the baby gets older and so on, because it goes over like a period of I think 3 years, if I can remember correctly. But once it gets to like 47, I think that's when Godzilla re-emerges, and he's actually like huge now, because apparently he gets so huge from like the bombing in the water, like when they're trying to detonate the mines and stuff that's in the water. That's when he like gets like so huge, and he does show up, and then eventually he comes and attacks Tokyo and all that. But I just leave it at that. Like I said, it's kind of like, I don't want to spoil the film, but overall it was like a pretty entertaining film. I think it was a couple of months where I feel like it was like dragging and so on, but I thought it was still like done pretty cool. And like I said, I was still surprised at like the actual like seriousness of the film, like the dramatic like elements of the film. It's like very, like I said, you wouldn't even think this was like a Godzilla film. And I thought like the music that played throughout the film, I thought that was pretty cool. And it had like the traditional music that be like in Godzilla films too as well. Like, dun, 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 dun. That's throughout the film too as well. And I thought like the visuals in the film, like the look of Godzilla himself, I thought was done pretty cool too as well. Like they did some awesome like visuals like on him, like when he's like going through the city swinging his tail, shooting like his heat wave and all that kind of stuff. All that kind of stuff was like awesome, I'm not gonna lie. Overall, I thought the performances in the film were done pretty good too as well. It feels like very like dramatic. Like I was saying, it was like a lot of times in the film where it's like focused on other things, but Godzilla does like show up, and they have to like deal with him and so on. But overall, I thought Godzilla Minus One, I thought this was a pretty solid film. It's kind of surprising, like I was saying. I like the look of Godzilla in this film. He looks awesome. Like whenever he's like walking around, like destroying like the city and all that kind of stuff, he does like look real cool. I must admit. And like I say, he looks scary too, especially like the water sequences where he was like chasing like the boats and so on. All that looked very like terrifying. I must admit, because you can't help but wonder. Imagine it was like a huge creature like that in the ocean. You was like in the ocean with it. Imagine how terrifying that would be, you know. But in the end of Godzilla Minus One, I feel like it was kind of like a B minus, but I really did enjoy it more than that. I think it was a couple of moments where it kind of dragged, but still like was a well-paced film. So I'm gonna give it a solid B, and I would definitely recommend it for like I guess fans of the Godzilla film franchise. Because I saw this in IMAX too as well, because we had to read like the subtitles because it was like in Japanese. So you had to read the subtitles, but I thought it was still pretty entertaining though. I give it a solid B, and this is my review for Godzilla Minus One. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.